Good evening, buddies. I want to talk about tone. Amplified tone specifically. The first thing we got to say, amplified tone comes exclusively from acoustic tone. You've got to have big acoustic tone before you can have big amplified tone. There's no gear on this planet that I'm aware of that will give you a big tone amplified without having a big tone acoustically. You've got to really open up, play from the back. You can't be... You gotta open up the cavity of your mouth and let the note resonate. Don't have your mouth too in the front. That's very in the front, so here's big tone. Sometimes that can be appropriate depending on what you're going for, but if you want a big Walter style, big tone, you've got to open up. Another big part of it is your hands. Listen to the earliest Little Walter, the earliest Big Walter stuff before they grab the mic. These guys are masters of hand tone. Joe Falisco calls it hand tone. Listen to that early Little Walter stuff. That I'm not doing it justice, man, but he uses his hands all over the place. Listen to that early Big Walter sort of shuffling stuff. That he uses his hands to change the tone so much. Another player, Forest City Joe, another incredible hand tone player. Sonny Boy Williamson too. Rice Miller played almost exclusively acoustically throughout his whole career. He's got some great amplified recordings, but amazing hand tone. The first Sonny Boy, John Lee Williamson, really used his hands, man. Like I've said before, these guys, I'm almost certain of it, they had never had the intention when they started playing the harmonica to play amplified. It was never in their mind. So the hands were just another way to manipulate their sound. They never started playing saying, you know, I'm gonna eventually play with a mic. I don't need to develop my hand tone. Using the mic was a side effect of having this incredible hand tone. And of course, tone does not only come from your hands. It's about opening up, but having hand tone and being able to manipulate the sound with your hands is of utmost importance when it comes to playing with a mic. You've got to start acoustically and build your acoustic tone. Listen to John Lee Williamson. Listen to the early Little Walter stuff. Big Walter Horton. George Harmonica Smith has some great acoustic recordings. That's just the stuff I focused on, man. There's a world of players out there from the 50s that you can pull from and gain the same sort of big Chicago-style tone influence from. Amplified harmonica, I've studied Little Walter the most, man. All of his amplified recordings are just incredible. He's got great accompaniment stuff, great solo stuff. Big Walter Horton, another champion of amplified harmonica. As far as gear, man, to me, honestly, gear is 10% of your tone. It takes a certain level of skill, of hand tone, to milk out the advantages of a vintage mic. You know, I would bet my last nickel, Little Walter, especially Big Walter Horton, man, because he had such a massive tone. It didn't matter what you stuck in his hands, man. He was going to get that massive sound. And a very important aspect to be aware of from day one. I was watching an interview with Big Al Blake the other day, and he said, blues harmonica. Harmonica in blues is like the hot sauce in the gumbo. Too much and you'll ruin the recipe. And that's something I've always believed in and agreed with. I never heard it put that way. It was pretty interesting to hear it put that way, but that's a great point. Listen to how Rice Miller plays the harmonica. He's very scarce with it. Of course, if it's a harmonica instrumental, it's kind of a different story. You're up front and it's your time to shine, but listen to these guys, how they accompany vocalists and play over a guitar solo.